Hello apples, welcome back to the second channel. So this right here is going to be a vlog mainly of me just sitting down talking about my birth story. I remember asking y'all back in 2025 if y'all wanted this story still because it had been so long, and here I am finally in 2026, May of 2026. I'm finally talking about it, guys. I don't even know really where to start. It was very traumatic for me. It was a very traumatic, like, towards the end. The beginning really wasn't too bad. It really wasn't. So I don't even know where to start. But guys, oh Lord, I don't even know where to start. Okay, let's start with December of 2023. Well, technically January of 2024 when I found out I was pregnant. It was like January 6th, January 5th. Guys, it was a surprise to me. I hate to say this, but he definitely wasn't planned. I mean, to be fair, I knew what I was doing, but like it wasn't planned, you know what I mean? I had been with my partner for 7 years at that point. But like it's still, for me, for him, he wanted a kid, but for me, in the foreseeable future, I still wasn't ready. But yeah, guys, if I ever had a kid, I told myself I would only have one, and I only want one, and I wanted a boy, and I got him. Nico Daniel. I'm not gonna tell y'all his last name, but Nico Daniel. Yes, I got him. I got my one kid, and I got my one boy. That's it. I'm a one and done person. No more kids. If I ever end up pregnant again, guys, I will let you guys know now that it will be a surprise and it will not be planned, and I don't know if I will be happy. You know what I mean? Because with the hardship I grew up in and the situation I grew up in with like raising my siblings and everything and coming from nothing, and you know, I just, in this economy, especially right now, one kid is enough. Is enough. Especially for me, it's enough. But getting into my birthing story, oh Lord, I got fuzz in my hair. Why do I got fuzz? I have a blanket right here. That might be why it's fuzzy. So I found out I was pregnant. That's fine, okay? I know a lot of women experience morning sickness. I think, what was it? I think 10 weeks, right around 10 weeks, I experienced like nausea, but I never threw up. I think I only threw up one time, and that was because I ate steak. I ate like a steak burger or something like that, and I ended up throwing up. Like for like 3 weeks, I couldn't even stand the smell of most things, but especially meat and seafood and onions and stuff like that, like strong odors. Nada. I barely ate anything those 3 weeks. I gained 40 pounds in my pregnancy, and I'm still struggling to lose the last 15. I'm still 15 pounds heavier. I'm currently in a calorie deficit. Like, guys, you don't understand how hard it is to lose the baby weight. I mean, hopefully this vlog is only female viewers. My male viewers probably do not want to hear what I'm about to say later on in this, or pictures that I'm probably going to show. But guys, I'm still 15 pounds heavier. I started, what was it? I was 146, 147 when I got pregnant, and right now I'm like sitting at like 169, 168. That's the heaviest I've ever been in my life. I'm trying to lose it because you don't understand how hard it is. I go to the gym every day. I love to work out. You guys know me. I love to work out. I still work out every day. There are some days I don't, but guys, I even get 10K to 15K steps every single day, and it's still hard for me to lose, and I don't eat a lot. I think my downfall is alcohol. And like, I don't drink like sugary drinks. I can't stand sugary drinks, but like I do love my alcoholic beverages on the weekends. And I'll probably drink maybe once a week. But majority I do drink Friday and Saturday, sometimes Sunday, and then I'll drink like one time during the week. But guys, the only time I ever drink is when I edit my videos. And that's just when my kid goes to bed and I come in here in my studio and I'm like, oh, okay, I want to edit these videos. I'll have a few White Claws and then go to bed. But that, I didn't realize, like, and then not only that, American food is high in calories. I started like counting every single every single calorie and even like sauces and stuff. I'm like, fuck, they're screwing us. And I'm a short person, so like for me to lose weight, I can only have 1350 a day. That's 1,350 calories a day. That's all I can have in a whole day. That's all I can have. For me to lose weight, that is the amount of calories I can have. So, yeah. Even with me working out and taking my steps, like I still have to be in that little deficit because I'm only 5'1", 156 centimeters. And yeah, guys. So currently I've lost 5 pounds. I'm proud of myself, and I see a difference already just in that little bit. But yeah, anyways, I wanted to talk about that because if you are a female watching and you have given birth, know that you are not the only one struggling. If you do not bounce back, that is totally fine. And yes, I see my comments all the time. You should, like, literally I had a comment yesterday. I deleted it. It doesn't bother me. It really doesn't. I know I'm a little overweight these days, but I also feel like even though I might be the same weight I was a year ago, I'm more toned now. Again, I definitely see the difference and definitely see the difference in my clothes. So I know I have progressed and not regressed. But yeah, guys, I still get comments all the time. Like there was a comment yesterday. I did that vlog of me putting up the rest of my studio. Babes, you need to go to the gym. Guys, I do go to the gym. I'm probably stronger than you. The person that commented that, I'm probably stronger than you. So yeah. Anyways, I grew a whole human. Yeah, come on. It has been 20 months, but like, anyways, so let's get on to the birthing story. So my whole pregnancy went great. Now, when I hit 30 weeks is when it started going downhill for me. Let me see. I work full time. I don't know if you guys, if you don't live in the United States, I don't know if you know, I don't know if you know what this will be, but DCFS is the Department of Children and Family Services. I was an investigator for them. So therefore, like every single day we received multiple cases and there was an allegation and you have to go out and investigate that. Like you have to go to these people's houses, knock on their door and ask them why they're abusing their children or why they live in the situation that they're living in, or like, why is sexual abuse going on? You have to you have to do all this, okay? My degree is criminal justice, so like this falls right into what I was doing, and I was doing that pregnant, my whole pregnancy, literally up until like I had to get, my doctor had to tell me to go in bed rest because I ended up going to preterm labor. So yeah, so fast forward, I'm still like working nonstop, like, and then not only that, like when it comes to DCFS, now they've changed it a little bit. There's more grace in the on-call, but guys, when you go on call, you go on call for 7 days straight, 24/7. So if there's an emergency and there's a child in need or something happens, you will be called out in the middle of the night. Guys, I got put on call for the 4th of July. I was literally, okay, so this is how quick this happened. So I was not due until September 16th of 2024. I went on call July 4th, 2024. I gave birth on August 16th of 2024. I gave birth a whole month early. I literally had just touched 35 weeks when I went into labor. I was working and I had a fentanyl case. I mean, I can't even speak about it. Let's just say I had a fentanyl case. A baby ingested fentanyl, and it was a very stressful case. It was a lot, guys. I literally was out almost 24 hours. It was a pretty bad case, but from that's when I started having problems. Like that week that I went on call, and I got called out a lot that week. It was the 4th of July. I don't know why people and everybody wants to just mess up on holidays. But so I got into work. I got back into, like, this was over the weekend, and then when I got back into work on Monday, I didn't feel Nico move. Like I hadn't felt Nico move in like I don't even know how long. So I ended up, when I went into work, I was very close with my supervisor, and she was like, hey, April, you need to go to the hospital. So I drove an hour to my hospital that I was going to give birth at. in Baton Rouge. And I went there and I got hooked up to the monitor and everything, and my blood pressure was outrageous, which my blood pressure has always been a little high, and I have high blood pressure in my family. So I got there and they were like, oh my God, like your blood pressure, I think at the time it was like 168 over 85, which is high. And they hooked me up and made sure the baby was still moving, and his heart rate, like Nico was perfectly fine. Like they literally told me he was textbook perfect, but like me, essentially that I could die if I was not careful. So, and not only that, I already was a half a centimeter dilated at 30 weeks. Guys, at 30 weeks, and I lost my mucus plug for the first time. I ended up losing it twice. This is when it starts getting, guys should really not be here. So at 30 weeks, when they sent me home that night, when they checked me and they said, oh, you're already half a centimeter dilated, like, we're not worried, that's okay, you're 30 weeks, people start dilating, it's fine, as long as you don't go, and they did like a preterm labor thing, and they were like, you're not in preterm labor. So they sent me home. And this was like a Monday, so I went back to work the next day. I was on my feet 24/7. Well, I went to work that whole week. I think like 2 days after that doctor visit, I ended up losing my mucus plug, and I got worried. And I was like, well, fuck, am I in labor? But I didn't feel any contractions or anything, and I looked it up, and it was like, hey, you can lose your mucus plug multiple times before you go into labor. And I felt fine, and then I did feel Nico move, so I was like, okay, I'm going to go to work the rest of the week. Okay. Fast forward to... That was 30 weeks. Fast forward to, what was it? 32 weeks. So 2 weeks later. So I finished up that week, and then I went to work, and then after that, I was back at like work, and I think this was right before I was 32 weeks. I think it was like right there at the end of 31 weeks. I think it was like a Friday or something. And, I got really, really lightheaded and dizzy, and I was out on a case, and I had to call my supervisor and was like, hey, I need to go to the doctor. So I ended up driving back to Baton Rouge, and went back to the doctor, and my blood pressure was like 178 over 100. It was like high. I ended up being diagnosed with preeclampsia at that point, and they had to give me blood pressure medicine, and I ended up being like a centimeter, a 1 centimeter dilated. So I ended up, like, within like a week and a half, I had already went to 1 centimeter. 1 centimeter. Girl speak. Anyways, so I went back home. I went back to work like a dumbass because I was going to work up until I gave labor. Well, guys, I don't recommend doing that. And then not like, I don't recommend, if you have an office job, yes, 1000%. But if you have like you work medical or you work investigations or something like that, like if your body's telling you you need to rest and not push yourself, you need to listen, because it could have been really bad. Like for me and Nico, it could have been really bad. What was that? I gave birth at 35 weeks. So fast forward another week and a half, I was still going to work. I was measuring my blood pressure because they were like, hey, measure your blood pressure. And then they made me go to my doctor's twice a week. So I was missing work often anyways because I had to go for fetal monitoring because of my blood pressure. But every time he was textbook perfect. Like they literally told me that they literally said, hey, he is completely fine. You, on the other hand, are not doing great. I was like, yes, I know. I ended up swelling. At first I really wasn't swelling that bad, but then like once my blood pressure stayed high consistently, I start swelling. And then fast forward, also we were in the process of moving. Me and my partner bought a house out here, 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, beautiful home. And then right at 34 weeks, I was still working, but we were moving. We moved in 2 days. We moved 40 minutes away. So we packed all of our shit up in 2 days and moved it to our new house. And I ended up that Monday, right before everything like went to, shit. I was like right at 33 and a half weeks, and we had just moved and everything, and I went to work that Monday, and I went in for maybe 30 minutes, and I was like, I gotta go to the hospital. because hadn't felt Nico move and I don't know how long. And at first I wasn't worried because I'm a very small person and like he had no more room to grow, and like he had literally no room to grow. Like I did not even get big until I was like right at 33 weeks, because I can show you guys pictures from when I was like 31 and 32. I looked tiny. But he essentially had no more room to grow. He was a really big baby in the first place for his age. So I left work, went to the hospital, and they put me on bed rest. And as soon as they put me on bed rest, we had moved into our new house. I was unpacking. I had like this urge. I know it's called nesting. I had this urge to clean my house. I fucking swept and mopped 4 times a day, and it was a brand new home. Like it was clean. And then all of a sudden we had our security company come install like security cameras and like a what's it called? Like a code like on the door. Like if anybody comes in and the doors like, break in, like a security system. There you go. This dude was over installing our security system, and I was on my little ball. At this point I was already bed rest, and I was like 34 and 9, and I'm sitting there on my ball. And my dumbass, I had a doctor's appointment the next day, so I was like, I'm not going in. I'm sitting there on my ball, and like I start feeling contractions, and like I thought I wet myself for a second. So I went to the bathroom, and I lost my mucus plug again, and I thought that's what the wetness was, like my mucus plug again. But I didn't realize my water had ruptured. And when I went into my doctor's appointment the next day, I went in and I told them what had happened, and she was like, no ma'am. She's like, it's been 24 hours and you're just now coming. I was like, well, I had a doctor's appointment. I was like, I didn't really know my water broke. I honestly didn't. She did like a swab, and it said rupture water or placenta or whatever that shit's called. Don't have no terms, okay? And she rushed me to labor and delivery, like ASAP. So I went to labor and delivery, and because I wasn't progressing, like I got there and I didn't even realize, guys. When I tell you I didn't even realize, I didn't. When I went into that doctor's appointment, not only had my water broke, but I was 5 centimeters dilated already. 5 centimeters dilated. I had no idea. Like, I didn't feel it. Like, I wasn't feeling contractions or anything. I did feel like that split second the day prior, but other than that, I didn't feel anything. And I was already 5 centimeters dilated, and they're like, oh, he's coming. So when they rushed me in and I wasn't progressing, and they gave me a few hours to try to do it like myself. And because my blood pressure, that was another problem. My blood pressure ended up being almost, what was it? They said it was like 198 over 100 or something like that. It was extremely high. They made me go on magnesium. I can't tell you this because then, like if they tell you to go on magnesium, you should probably do it. But they made me go on magnesium, and I started throwing up as soon as they put me on magnesium. That makes you feel like you're fucking hungover like times 10. Like magnesium is not fun. Then they made me go on Pitocin because I wasn't progressing in my labor, and they said I could have an infection because my water had ruptured 24 hours prior. I was like, God help me. So then I thought I was going to write it out. Well, I ended up dilating from a 5 to a 7 with like that. And like the contractions were so bad. And I didn't want to use an epidural, but because they put me on Pitocin and I was also on magnesium, guys, I was like, please bring me that epidural. They brought it to me. I was like 7.5 when they actually got it in. And my contractions were like every 3 minutes apart. Well, I ended up dilating from a 7.5 to a 10 within an hour. I'm happy that I got this epidural because, guys, when I tell you I pushed for 4.5 hours, it was so bad. It was so long. And that's because I'm such a small person, and like I guess I'm just so small built. At 35 weeks, my baby was 6 pounds and 4 ounces. He would have been a 10-pound baby if I would have went full term, which I wasn't going to because I got diagnosed with preeclampsia. They were going to make me go at 38 weeks anyways. But like, guys, so fast forward, I have multiple doctors coming in. I don't even know how many at this point, didn't even care. I'm like let's get this done, over with. Finally, they're like, oh, he's crowning. I didn't feel anything. Thank God. I didn't feel nothing. And I was so tired at this point. I'm pushing, and then they're like, bring the suction or there's going to be an emergency C-section. I'm like, what the fuck? He got stuck in my pelvic area because I'm such a small person. Thank God I didn't have to have a C-section. They got this little suction cup, and that's why he had this thingy on his head. He had like a really big cone head because they had to suction him out. They suctioned him, and I pushed at the same time, and he came out perfectly. No broken bones, no anything like that. Like, everybody was good. Guys, I was so tired. I don't even really remember too much. And then they put him on my chest, and then I guess because he was so young, they said, I don't know why they said this, because he really wasn't having breathing issues. Well, at first I got scared because I didn't hear him cry. So they were like, at first, like, I guess he really wasn't breathing. I think he had some, like, whatever that stuff's called in his throat. And at first when they handed him to him, he was kind of blue. I'm not even gonna lie. It kind of scared me. But then they finally got him to cry and stuff. And then I held him for a second on my chest. And then, his dad and stuff held him. And then they took him out of our arms and rushed him to NICU because it said he wasn't breathing right. He had no breathing problems, guys. He never once got put on a breathing machine. But he did end up staying in NICU for a full week because his glucose levels were off consistently for a couple of days. He ended up with jaundice really bad, so he had to go underneath the light for 24 hours. And he would not take a bottle. I did try to breastfeed. He would never latch. I did pump the whole time he was in NICU, but I stopped breastfeeding after he got out of the hospital because, like, they were making me supplement formula anyways, and I'm like, this is too much mental on me. Like, it just wasn't for me, so I didn't breastfeed. Maybe if he would have latched, I probably would have, but because he didn't latch, I didn't even follow through with it. But that's okay because it took him a week to get out of NICU, so he ended up, they kept running tests and stuff, and he was perfectly fine. Never went on a breathing machine. His breathing was never a problem. I was at the hospital every single day. Like, mind you, I live an hour away from the hospital he was born at, so we were driving. I ended up having to stay in the hospital for an extra day. Oh, this is where the trauma kicks in for me, guys. I still have problems peeing. Yes, I said that. I try to tell them my bladder was, I'm a very weird person, honestly, and I kept trying to tell them my bladder is huge and it holds a lot, okay, with how much I was always on the road and going places. Like, I held my bladder all the time. Well, they didn't listen to me, and they didn't, when they drain me after that epidural, because you don't need to, they have to catheter you to drain you when you're on the epidural. So 12 hours after my epidural, like, I still couldn't move, like, I couldn't feel my feet, not really, and they come in there to cath me. Guys, females are only supposed to have a max 400 to 500 milliliters of pee inside of you. I had 1,600 milliliters of pee inside of me. My bladder was overstretched. Then after that, they're like, okay, when you start feeling, they came in to self-cath me again. I ended up having like 1,200 milliliters. Like, they overstretched my bladder again because I kept trying to tell them, like, hey, I have a big bladder. Well, fast forward, it was almost time for me to be sent home, and they were like, hey, are you using the bathroom? I'm like, no, I'm like drizzling, like, I can't pee, like, I was in pain. I was like, hey, can you please come cath me? I begged them to do it. So they ended up cathing me for a whole 24 hours, and that was my extra day of stay, which was nice because I got to go to Nico in the NICU. It was easy. It was just like a floor up. And then they took it out after 24 hours, and they were like, hey, we're going to see if you can pee. We're going to send you home. If not, we're going to have to cath you and send you home. And when you go to your doctors, your female doctor, they're going to see what needs to happen. I was like, no, I don't want this. It's so uncomfortable, especially after having labor. Not only did you just push out a whole human, I had a fucking catheter inside there. Like, you don't understand how much pain that was. Like, it was awful. Like, this makes me want to never have another kid anyways. I didn't pee right for months after this. I still don't really pee right. I feel like sometimes. I can't hold my bladder. Like I can hold it, but like I regret it after holding it because then I feel like I won't be able to pee. Yeah. Anyways, so what was it? About 5 hours in, I was barely peeing. They come in and they brought the little bladder thingy and measured it. They're like you have 900 milliliters in here. You have to go to the bathroom or we're gonna have to cath you. I was like, I can't. Please cath me. It was hurting. I was like over bloated. And then after that, they were like, well, we're just gonna have to send you home because you have to be discharged. You're fine. You gotta go home. I was like, fuck. Okay. Well, they sent me home with this catheter. I felt like I was a boy. They sent me home with this catheter. You literally like open it and you put it in the toilet and it's like you're peeing like out of a penis. It was weird, but it was easy to go to the bathroom. And it's funny because I never had problems with number two. Number two was easy. That shit didn't hurt like most people say it does. The peeing was my problem. It was called urinary retention is what I ended up with. Well, I ended up with having the catheter inside of me for 7 days, for a whole week. And mind you, not only did I have a catheter inside of me, I was at home. My baby was at the hospital. I had to drive every single day an hour to the hospital to see him. It was oh God, it was awful, guys. It was bad. It was so bad. And then I went to my doctor's appointment the day before he got released from the hospital. I went to my doctor's appointment, and mind you, I think I was in my head so much that I almost had to go home with another catheter. So they emptied my bladder fully, and then with the catheter, they added like a certain amount of water they wanted inside me. I think it was like 400. And they're like, you have to go pee out all the water we just put back inside you. I was like, oh my God. So I went to the bathroom. I couldn't. I cried. I literally walked back in the waiting room and bawled my fucking eyes. I was like, I cannot pee. And then they were like, well, we're going to have to cath you. I was like, no, I'm going to go try one more time. I went to the bathroom and I was like, like I kept calming myself. I turned on the water and all kinds of stuff, and then bam, I peed it all out. I was like, fuck you. Anyway, so I got sent home without the catheter. Thank God. And thank goodness, like I never had like a problem to the point where I had to go back to the hospital to get cath. Like I did have problems peeing. Like I ended up having to make myself go to the bathroom like every 30 minutes because my bladder still wasn't fully emptying. Like it wasn't 100% emptying. It was probably like emptying like 75 to 85%. And yeah, so I didn't want to have to get another catheter. So I made sure I went to the bathroom like every 30 minutes. And then finally, after 2 days, after the catheter came out, we got the call saying Nico could come home, like everything's fine, everything's perfect, and we brought him home. Guys, when I tell you, this was, I mean, I know there's probably worse birthing stories out there, but the fact that I ended up going, like, having problems at 30 weeks, like getting preeclampsia at 30 weeks, working 24, like I literally had a demanding job. DCFS is no joke. And postpartum too, guys. When I went back to work after 3 months, like I got to stay home with my baby for 3 months. Thank God I worked for the state, because if it was a normal job, you only get 6 weeks. But because I worked for the state, I got 3 months off, which is 12. I think I took 16 weeks off. And then I went back to work. But yeah. They try to get me to come back at 6 weeks. I'm like, y'all are tripping. I'm not coming back till, yeah, no. Anyways, so, yeah, dilating at 30 weeks, getting preeclampsia, and then going into labor at 35 weeks, and then having to be put on magnesium and Pitocin and Lord knows what other drug. Also, I didn't mention this, but I'm not gonna lie. After Nico came out of me, they try to keep me on the magnesium for another 24 hours. When I tell you, you don't want to go on magnesium. Like, I felt the worst I've ever felt in my entire life. I literally told them, they came back in, like, I think, was it like 7 hours after having Nico? They came back in. I was like, I don't want this magnesium. They were like, well, no, you have to stay on it 24 hours after you have your kid. I was like, I'm not. I was like, bring me whatever waiver you need me to sign for me. If I die, then you guys won't be liable. Bring that waiver to me, because I'm getting off of this. They brought me the waiver, and I signed that bitch, and I got off my magnesium. I'm sorry, but I could not do it, guys. And I was so swollen. Oh my god, I gotta show you some pictures. Oh my god, I was so God, which I probably already in this vlog, I probably already showed you this picture, but like my feet were sausages, guys. My feet were sausages. Oh, yeah, I literally was so puffy. I was so like I had so much water inside of me, like so much fluids, and they pumped me full of fluids too. Guys, I'm telling you, I don't know why. Like it was awful. Like my whole experience was awful. Nothing went right with what I wanted. Like not a single thing. And my doctors didn't listen to me with what I wanted. Like I didn't want to go on Pitocin, they made me go on Pitocin. Like I didn't want magnesium, they made me go on magnesium. Like it was awful. It was awful. I'm just happy that I didn't have to go into a cesarean C-section. Like I'm so happy I did not have to do that. I was very close to it, and thank God I didn't. But yeah, guys. So yeah, that's my birthing story. It's a long one. It's a lot. There's probably more and details that I probably didn't mention. But yeah, guys. I mean, the majority of it wasn't bad. It really wasn't. It was just that ending that was awful. Like it was so bad. And I think it was the stress of work. It was the stress of moving. It was the stress of Nico not having any more room to move. Like it was everything. It was everything. Yeah, guys. Yeah, so that is that. I don't think I have anything else. If you guys want to put in the comment section some questions that you guys might have or anything like that, but yeah, I think that's about it. And I know this story has been needing to come out for almost 2 years. And I kept telling y'all I was gonna do it, and I just never had a chance to, and I finally am here doing it. But I want to shout out my coworkers and my supervisor and my partner. Like, if it wasn't for them, I don't really know what would have happened, because they literally they didn't make me, but they were like, hey, April, something's wrong. You need to go to the hospital, because I was working, and I was like, even when I didn't feel Nico, I was like, I need to go to the hospital, but like, I was like, oh my God, like I can't miss work. And that's a really bad mentality. But here in America, like, guys, we're living paycheck to paycheck over here, okay? Like, it's not what you think. Like, we literally live paycheck to paycheck. And, like, some people can't afford to miss work. You know what I mean? It's just as simple as that. Like, it's insane, guys. And my mentality, like, I've always been, like, a very hardworking, determined person. And, like, when I'm in something, or, like, when I'm working, like, I don't ever want to have to, leave and listen to them. And like thank God for my supervisor. I love you. She made me go. Like, she was like, April, no, get the fuck out of here. Go. Like, she was like, no, go. Like, she pushed me. She's like, you better go. I ended up doing that for my coworker too, that ended up pregnant, like, right after I had Nico. She ended up pregnant with twins, and she ended up having complications too at the end of her pregnancy. And I was like, girl, no, go to the hospital. You told me the same thing. Go to the hospital. And she ended up having her twins early too, because of her blood pressure. So yeah. But anyways, apples, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Leave y'all's comments if you have any questions. Let me know. But yeah, bye.